that left two in the near term. Where we are right now is this sort of tiering system has been adopted at JPAC and at Metro Council. This map specifically has been adopted with those being the near term. We're in the process of getting to regional consensus of which line should go next. Our TriMet's analysis are conferring with local jurisdictions and commitments to future development shows that the Barber line is the one that's probably going to perform the best and the easiest to develop in the near term. There is a lot of interest in that, both in terms of the cities and development around the potential stations and trying to get going on that in the next year. We're working towards the regional consensus that, yes, that indeed should be the next one. That doesn't take away from Powell, but just places the three in the near term in sort of a rank order of which one would go first. The kinds of things that will challenge us in going forward with that are, well, it's a challenging alignment to begin with. The engineering will be interesting to say the least, very much doable, but there were many options in terms of where we are and how much structure there is and all of that. There are two ODOT facilities which carry a lot of traffic, I-5 and 99W. There are land use implications to figure out both in terms of taking advantage of the light rail where it might best perform and where the stations might best be used to improve the future development in there, more in keeping with the regional vision and with the vision of the local jurisdictions. As part of that conversation, I believe that the determination to go forward with Barber will come out earlier. However, there will be a longer-term discussion about how we make distinctions between the lines and the tiers and whether lines can move between tiers. And that's under a heading called a system expansion policy, which is not fully developed yet, is under development, will be under discussion for the next year in terms of looking at things like commitment for the local jurisdiction to look at where stations might be and how they might look at future development and future both regulations and incentives for development to make them more transit friendly, how they might support the sort of regional vision as well as their own vision for future development. And those kinds of things which still need some technical development and better understanding, I think, at the regional table for how we move forward, will help decide what might come next. So just to sort of close on this and then see if you have any questions or feedback or anything. There are a number of lines on here. Most of the way these got set into tiers had very much to do with the ridership analysis. How would it do in the future with existing planned future development, so 2035 future development. There is always the possibility in 4 years of the region's jurisdictions doing visioning and whatnot, but the lines might flip-flop a little bit. And that's part of what the system expansion policy is all about, understanding how to do that in a rational way that everybody understands and agrees with. But it gives a little bit more form to our understanding of how to go forward with high-capacity transit. It also, to editorialize a little bit, sort of begs the question about all of these were analyzed as light rail. None of them were analyzed as commuter rail or bus rapid transit or anything else. So one of the challenges we'll have in future updates and we'll have at TriMet in terms of planning is understanding when and where those other tools might be appropriate. This was a light rail-based analysis and fully recognized that it was light rail focused. And future analysis will have to look at a broader range of tools. With that, the RTP, which this is part of, will be, as I said at the beginning, accepted or is expected to be accepted with some amendments based on the following 2 JPAC meetings. So by the end of this calendar year. And then during the next calendar year, before the middle of the year, the RTP, which will incorporate this, is expected to be adopted. This is just one of many components of the RTP. And in 4 years, or whenever we need to update it, there will be some updates to this as well. have any questions, follow-up?
You got a handle on it. So you find general collaboration with all the partners at the table?
Yeah, I think I would characterize the collaboration as very good. I also should have mentioned that one of the most interesting parts is there were a lot of lines that went on the table. Everybody wants a light rail line. Some of them may never perform as light rail, but will go into the hopper for things for us to consider when we can expand bus service, so new connections. But even for the near term, there was a lot of competition and interest and negotiation, I guess, in terms of everybody wanting to be next. And that's very promising, I think, for us and our thinking about how we go forward, how we move forward, and our ability to work with the jurisdictions to make the best use of the light rail infrastructure that goes in terms of helping them meet their vision, but also helping us meet our goals, both in terms of ridership, but also in terms of helping places to develop in ways that allow the trip not taken or the reduced trip, or greater reliance on transit and walking and bicycling, and all those things that are more sustainable and fit our vision.
I just want to say, looking at this, you know, it looks as if everything is going west.
I knew this was coming.
Well, check your colors.
He's right.
And I think about Oregon City. Nothing was thought about Oregon City. I look at, you know, Happy Valley. I mean, Happy Valley is one of the fastest growing communities out there. I mean, more business, more homes, new hospitals. Are you guys looking at the trends in these areas or anything of that nature? I mean, they just opened a new Providence, you know, on Sunnyside. We don't have service on a regular basis, you know, so everybody drives. I mean, it's just, I mean, this is bus service, I understand, but as far as getting from there, from our new light rail system out there to that Providence is very difficult, you know, unless you drive.
So I think two answers to that. One is that many connections will always need to be made with buses. And those, while they're reflected in the RTP, are really our purview, and we refer to our TIP and use the TIP process to understand where service might need to go in the future. We make some projections in the RTP. The analysis is coming out of our TIP analysis. There were, as I said, a number of lines that didn't even survive onto this map. And some of them were tested and simply did not do well enough to merit light rail. That may go back to the other conversation about, well, would any of them have survived? Were we looking at a lower cost bus rapid transit that doesn't bring the same levels of benefit, but also doesn't bring the same levels of capital and cost? So that's something we'll be exploring in the future. In terms of Oregon City specifically, I didn't really call out anything but the green lines, the near term. But the next layer down has both a McLaughlin and a I-5 or I-205 line down to Oregon City to make that last regional center connection in the region. Why Southwest? Well, very simply said, if you look at sort of a simple map of current and long-term demand in terms of which corridors want the most transit, which ones have the highest ridership, the Southwest line is the last one that really stands out. It's the last radial line out of downtown that has a huge amount of ridership where we don't have rail service for it. And so that seems to make sense to be the next one. The question would be, what comes after that?
Well, I would say to that, give us in Clackamas County more service, and I guarantee you that fit the needs of the people, and I guarantee you that the ridership would improve. But, you know, that's which came first, the chicken or the egg, and I understand that, you know, and we don't have the money to explore this, you know, and that's what I keep telling people, you know, prove it with what we have versus what you want. And this is what I see this analysis as, you know, because areas with low ridership has low service. You know, and that so I don't think they can be measured on the same scale as the area with better service.
Can you limit your comments to 3 minutes?
I yield.
We'd be disappointed, Bob.
Well, Lynn's not here, someone's got to do this.